All right, y'all. It's face to face again. I'm doing a continuation on race matters, and I want to incorporate some more scripture, make it a little more biblical at this point to make my point in regards to race and racial tension. It's been some dialogue and some pushback as it relates to why is it that black folks have been resistant. And we're seeing a lot of it now. Black people have become more and more resistant. Arrest has been resistant. Getting pulled over for a ticket, that's been resistant. I'm not saying that it's wise. I'm getting somewhere, but it's been resistant. When you go into stores, I'm seeing people, they have disputes in stores. One white lady, she was having a dispute with a black lady, and it was about a mask in one of the stores. I think it was Walmart. And then at some point, and she says, because I'm white, she could do what she was doing. She says, because I'm white. And so she got a lot of pushback from that. You got privilege versus non-privilege, and then it's this interaction. I saw one guy on a video out in Texas, and he was racially profiled in his own yard, and the cop said that he looked suspicious. And even though he was in his yard, he hadn't went out. He was going from the front of his house to the back of his house. But anyway, they came in and they wanted to, do that whole racial thing on him, and the cop got a handful. Now, the black guy was not as smooth, I should say, in terms of his handling of the situation as maybe I would have wanted it to be. But in this climate, what's the best way to do it? I mean, I don't know. If you got enough nerve to approach me when I haven't done anything, and I'm not being an advocate for either or, but let's look at it. But if you got enough nerve to approach me for something that I haven't done, just because you're suspicious about something and I'm on my property, not bothering anybody, and if you can do that, then who's to say, when you look at the climate that we're in right now, that what type of pushback is appropriate? All right, so there's a lot of pushback, and as a result of that, there's been a lot of conversation around that, and they're saying, well, should black folks, should they be resistant? And I see them being resistant. Well, President Donald Trump, he definitely, put it out there. One of his initiatives is law and order. So from that perspective is that, we gonna handle this the way that we feel is the best way to handle it, whether it's search and frisk, whatever, all that stuff that they got out. I'm not sure. What I do know is that I am tired of it. So you have this thing where it's a pushback to authority, and I'm here today to say that I don't think it's about that black folks want to be resistant, black folks want to push back, but black folks are tired of being profiled racially in a negative way, as if that there's no good black people. And I'm not saying that carte blanche, but for the most part, what you see is there are some issues. And so today, I want to look at it from a biblical standpoint, and as a word of being included or inclusion. I want to be careful with that word inclusion, because that can get a little dicey. But I'm not going to go to scriptures because, again, I told y'all I don't know how to do this video YouTube thing, and I time out. And so I'm going to give you the stories, and then you can go to your Bible and reference the stories on your own. But in terms of authority and pushback, I want to give you a little story about Abraham, Sarah, and Hagar. Okay, when you read the story, there's an issue with Sarah. She can't have a kid. So as a result of her not being able to produce something that is fruitful and that would make her have a positive look in the sight of others, because now I got a kid, especially if I got a son. Okay, so she is saying, listen, I can't give you that, Abraham. I can't do it. So she said this. Sarah said, I'll give you my handmaiden, Hagar. So she didn't ask Abraham with nothing. She just, and I'm going somewhere with this. So long story short, she gives her handmaiden to Abraham. Abraham goes in and he has relations with her, and out comes Ishmael. But as a result of that, it becomes Sarah's child to Abraham through another woman. All right? Okay, so now this is my gift to you. This is what I wanted. This is how I am being blessed now. This is my gift to you. Now, what Sarah and Abraham did not take into consideration was the other person. And this is where I'm getting into race matters. Okay? And this is where I'm getting into black people and the pushback, or the recognition of authority. Because just because Abraham in that particular time was the man, and they were in charge, and Sarah was his wife, and they had, wealth and concubines and servants and all that, the concubines and the servants had feelings. It's just like right now, when you look back 400 years of oppression, black people, just because you misinterpreted the word and you figured that you could take black people and use them the way that you want to use them, that didn't mean that they liked it. Okay? In the movie Harriet, and with Harriet Tubman, the movie Harriet, and there at the end of the movie, she when her master is getting ready to die, and he's reflecting back on his life, how messed up he is, Harriet gets over him, and she says to him, God didn't mean for you to own people. You misinterpreted that. That ain't what God meant. He didn't mean for you to own me. Okay? Let me get back to the Bible. Okay, so now Sarah, she is gifted Abraham with this child, Ishmael. Now, what they didn't do was take in consideration, as I said, her feelings. So now Hagar's thinking about this. She like, I didn't want to sleep with him. Okay? I don't like him. He ain't my cut. He ain't my flavor. I ain't on this at all. Did y'all ever consult me to say, is Abraham, is this somebody that, that if I wasn't in the picture, would you, be interested in him in any way, form, or fashion? Did that occur to you that maybe, I wouldn't be attracted to Abraham? But you just gonna force me to give of myself to Abraham because he Abraham. Mm-hmm. Okay, so now I'm trying to go somewhere. All right, so we do that. So now Hagar pushes back. Hagar resists authority, and Hagar said, listen, deuces, peace, see you, wouldn't want to be you, I'm out of here. And she takes off for the wilderness. All right, just a picture, right? So my point is this, is that even though you can't have your cake and your ice cream, all right? Even though on one side you get what you want, but don't get mad on the other side if there's resistance. Because by you getting what you want, don't mean that what you want is to the liking of another people. I just want to use that biblical citation or story to help inform, because I'm trying to help us all come together. So I said, well, what kind of stories can I bring about to help us understand more fully of how another race may feel? Take that in consideration. You ain't all that. You don't speak for everybody. If you, just because you may be privileged, because you may have money, because you may live in a certain neighborhood, because you have the opportunity to go to the best schools, to be afforded the best ever education, and all that stuff, to live in a privileged world, that don't mean that your privilege, the way that you think, can the ideas, the ideology of it can be imposed on another race, and they are of the persuasion to embrace it the way that you embrace it. And by the way, this is a sidebar, but do you know that the police that we see today, the boys in blue, all right, do you know where all that came from? That all came from slavery. When they would corral the slaves, and you have, the masters out there and the captains, and when I say captains, I'm talking about the white folks that may be on a horse or whatever with the whip and with a gun. And what they did was they made sure that, if you was out there in the field, no matter how hot it was, that you was picking that cotton or whatever they wanted you to do, whether you was a field Negro or you was a house Negro, you was subject to get whipped and everything else. So they used certain people, certain folks to make sure that that the operation ran properly, the way that master wanted it to run. Now master would be back in wherever, and you got to report to him. But they made sure that they corralled like a herd of animals, cows, beasts, as it were, and make sure that you do accordingly. Well, that whole the picture of that, the ideology of that carried on through history, and that is where the police force originated from, and that's how it became formed. All right, so when we see that today, it is a spirit that that took place all the way from slave time. It's a spirit, and it's that spirit that we're wrestling with today, that I own you and that I can walk up to you because I'm the police. You a man. And you are under authority, just like I'm under authority. You have to abide by laws and structures the same way I have to abide by laws and structures, and that's the part that gets clouded here. And so this is where a lot of pushback and all this stuff comes back, resisting authority. But the reason why you're getting the resistance is because you are overstepping your bounds. Okay, you don't have the right to do all that. Now, granted, some people do need to be, they do look suspect. But come on, y'all, not all of us. Not all of us. I mean, I've been a victim myself. I've seen it. I've been followed. Okay? And I don't have a look like a thug, what we call a thug. Or I ain't wearing gold teeth in my mouth. My hair is usually in a way that looks more studious. Okay, I look more like maybe like they would want me to look. Okay, and I've still been racially profiled. All right, so there's a problem. There's a problem with that. All right, so I got off a little bit. The other point that I want to make to you. The first one was that, you need to understand that what you what you get is that has a reaction. You might get something, but don't think that because you get what you want, that ain't gonna be no pushback. All right, because you certainly didn't consult me with what you wanted, and I didn't do nothing wrong. Okay, it wasn't because you did me or put me in a situation because it was something that I did. No, it's just your nature. It's just something that you wanted. So now when you get pushback from me, now it becomes a problem, and you want to know, well, why is black people acting the way that they act? Well, let's look at this. The other thing that I want to say, my second point, is that if we talking about Abraham and we talking about inclusion, how many of y'all right now, just want to ask a question, how many folks say that how many sons that Abraham have? Most people gonna say that Abraham had 2 sons. They're gonna say he had Isaac, the son of promise. And they're gonna say Ishmael, because those are the ones that has been framed, polarized in our mind. Okay, we talk about that. That is a Eurocentric theology and a Eurocentric training and a Eurocentric evolution of how we should view Christianity, how we should view the promises and the blessing and all that stuff. The blessing it's going to come through Abraham, and it's going to come through the Jewish community and the Shemites through Shem. But the Bible says to Abraham, and you check it out in Genesis, okay, that he says that I am going to bless your seed. All right, now, if he's going to bless his seed, the first, if you want to make a theological argument, the first seed that he had was Ishmael. You're going to bless the seed. All right? Now, that was a seed. That was a legitimate seed. That was Abraham's son. It sure was. It sure was Abraham's son. The next one was Isaac. And he was the one that God was in. Okay? And for whatever reason, God wanted to come through Isaac and that whole lineage to get to Jesus Christ. That's God's business. Get all that. But I want to show you how just because God used that to bring everything together don't mean that he didn't include the rest of us. Abraham, after Sarah died, y'all remember that? He had 6 more sons by Keturah. Now, one of them was Midian, where we get the Midianites, which came out of Egypt. My finger ain't cut off, and I want to get back into this piece as well, but I'm going to show you how they were black. Now, my point is this, is that Abraham raised all of his children to a certain degree. They were all taught something to a certain degree of him. They all had it. Not just Isaac, not just Ishmael, but they all had it. And as a result of that, they all were included to be blessed. I just want to deal with that part right there, because I'm going to get my time getting ready to stop. I'm on another device, and this one goes out even quicker than that one because I don't have no space left on it. But I want to talk about, and I'm going to come back here in a few minutes, and I want to talk about this whole issue of Abraham's other sons and the evolution of how the Midianites, how Jethro, Moses, the training that Moses got, all that stuff, the stuff that they left out of the Bible about Moses, the black part about Moses that they cut out, however you want to look at it, it's not there present, but we do have empirical data that shows there's other things about Moses, a lot more information. And so I want to talk about that as well. So anyway, I'm going to come back and we're going to continue our discussion with Race Matters here in a bit. God bless.